Hello, how is everyone doing? Dave here, back with another video. I mentioned this briefly in my top 5 anticipated games of the year video that I was going to do a Dragon Quest tier list. So we're going to do that today. There's a lot of birds outside. I doubt you guys can hear them, but it adds to a nice aesthetic, at least for me. It's a pleasant, calm, cool day. The birds are out, and we're going to be talking about Dragon Quest, which is a very calm and cool, well, maybe not calm in a lot of aspects, but a very pleasant and relaxing, cozy franchise that I enjoy just relaxing and playing. It really, the game itself is amazing. I think really Akira Toriyama's art style really lends well to it and helps give it its own unique flavor. And it's one of my favorite franchises. Admittedly, I will say, caveat right now, I have not played every game. And there are going to be a lot in this haven't played tier. I'll fully get that out of the way right now. It may seem a little like, how is this guy even talking about Dragon Quest when he's only played like 2 games, Obviously, I've played way more than just 2 games, but the ones that I have played, I have really, really put time into and enjoyed. And I just wanted to talk about them today. So we'll go through even some of the ones that I haven't played. I do have a few thoughts on. So I still thought that this video was warranted, and any of the ones that end up in the haven't played, if you guys see this and you're like, oh Dave, you have to play those, then I'll try to give them a shot. But anyway, these are just in order of how they are down below here, so we're gonna get right into them. We're gonna start out with the first Dragon Quest. Honestly, I'm gonna put it in decent. That may be a little blasphemous just because it's the first one. But I personally just couldn't get into it. It was a little slow for me. If I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure it's like you're the only one. I don't know if you have a party in that game. I could be wrong. It's been so long since I played it, so maybe it does deserve a second look. But I just couldn't get into it, unfortunately. Dragon Quest II, I'm going to put in great, because it is a great game, but just not like something that I personally find myself going back to or wanting to play. But it is great. I love the characters. The characters show up in the Dragon Quest Monsters Plus manga, which I thought was cool because I, saw that and I was like, oh, it's those characters. I know those guys. Honestly, I don't remember a whole lot about Dragon Quest 2, but I do remember enjoying it a lot more than Dragon Quest 1. And then we're just going to keep building up here. Dragon Quest 3 is incredible. I think when its 2.5D remake comes out, it'll up it into that masterpiece tier, because that art style is just beautiful. I love the creating your party from scratch type thing. That's going to be prevalent in another game coming up. But I love that. I love building my own characters, my own story, and I guess head canons for each party member and stuff. Its combat system, its story is very good. Each time, at least with these first 3 games, I feel like they took elements that were good and kind of built off of them. And then here we are, Dragon Quest 3, with a pretty solid experience. Dragon Quest 4, however, I'm gonna put. Admittedly, I haven't finished it, but I've played enough, I think, to put it in great. I do really like Dragon Quest 4. It was just another one that I couldn't get into, but I got into it more than Dragon Quest 1, so I'll put it in great. Because, I feel like these are all, like, maybe I should have reworded these, because putting a game in a bad tier, for example, doesn't necessarily mean I think it's bad. I just couldn't get into it as much as the other ones. So it's like, honestly, to my knowledge, and maybe I'm just naive, but I don't think there's been a bad, quote-unquote, Dragon Quest game. There have just been ones that have been obviously better than others. But anyway, circling back to Dragon Quest IV, I loved its story, I loved its characters, how it kind of broke up into different things, and you played as all these different characters going on their different adventures, and then they all kind of met up in the end. I thought that was very interesting. But it was just, I think at the same time that was interesting, but also it made it a little bit more difficult for me to get into because I wanted all these characters to be together and go on this adventure together. And, it was kind of a little fragmented, but still a very good game. Dragon Quest V, unfortunately, I haven't played it. I do like the idea of following your hero throughout the ages and throughout the years. I know I saw the Dragon Quest Your Story movie, which I think was loosely based off of 5, and I do remember enjoying it enough. But unfortunately, I haven't played the actual game. But I do think the whole concept of, again, following your character throughout the game, watching him grow up, is pretty cool. Dragon Quest 6, unfortunately, I also haven't played. I don't have a whole lot to say on that one. Dragon Quest 7, however, I'm going to put into... I'm going to also put this into great. Probably if I put a little more time into it, it would be incredible because it does have a wealth of content. This is a game that is very long, very big, which I guess depending on how you view that, you may have a different mindset. You may want a game that's a little more compact and a little shorter, which I can't blame you for. But I'm going to keep it in great just because I just feel like it's a disservice to myself to put it up there, even though I haven't played enough of it. But I have played, I haven't played enough to put it here, but I've played it enough to put it here, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I remember enjoying it a lot. I liked the characters. I played it on the 3DS, so that was like a nice kind of pseudo, not really remake, but like a bit of a remaster. It looked pretty. I loved its art style. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. Next, Dragon Quest 8. This may be a killer, but I haven't played this one. This is one that I feel like a lot of people really love. I love the Troidian armor. I used the Troidian armor in Dragon Quest 11. I love the story behind 8. I've done research on the story, but the game itself, unfortunately, I just haven't played. I don't own a 3DS anymore, so I wasn't able to play that, and back when it came out on the PS2, I just missed it. But I do know, it's a game that I know enough about to respect, and I know enough about that people enjoy it, and I do like the story from what I've gathered, but unfortunately the game itself I just haven't played. Now we're getting into the big ones for me. Dragon Quest 9 I think is a masterpiece. Obviously it's got its flaws. Its story is fine. It's not the strongest, but it's enough to get you there. It kind of has a similar thing with Dragon Quest 3 of like creating your party from scratch, which as someone who loves character customization, I really appreciate and I really like. But at the same time, there's not growth in the characters that you'd see in games like 4 or 7 or really any of these other games, because you don't become attached to the party members because they're all, nameless, or well, not nameless, voiceless people that just follow you around. But I still loved the art style. I loved the gameplay. I felt like the multiplayer was cool. Unfortunately, I never got the chance to play it myself because I didn't really... I'm not somebody that likes playing with random people online. That's just never been my thing. And then at the time, none of my friends were playing it. So I played it through solo, but I really enjoyed it. I played it through multiple times. I held on to the game long after I got rid of my DS in the hopes that I would eventually get a DS again. Unfortunately, I recently did sell my copy of Dragon Quest. Finances hit your boy kind of hard, so unfortunately I had to part with it, but hopefully someday in the future I'll get the chance to play it again. I feel like it would be a great game for Nintendo to remaster or even just port it to the Switch, because you have a wider audience. You can take full advantage of the online multiplayer, stuff like that. So I would love to see this game get a second wind, because it is so good and I really do like it, and it might be my favorite Dragon Quest game, honestly. Yeah, I love Dragon Quest 9 a lot. I mentioned in that video the anticipated games that I unfortunately missed the boat on the Dragon Quest Monsters games. So as I see them, I'm gonna put them in here. I definitely get what they're about. Like, it's a kind of Dragon Quest Pokemon-esque thing. I did read the manga. I liked that. And I'm very excited for the Dark Prince. That was on my anticipated games list. I'm definitely going to play it. But these originals, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to play. So, Dragon Quest X, that's the MMO. To my knowledge, that hasn't come out in the States, so haven't played it. I think it would be a really cool opportunity and something fun to play, but unfortunately just haven't played it myself. Dragon Quest XI, that's going to be a masterpiece. This is, if Dragon Quest 9 isn't my favorite, Dragon Quest 11 is. I love the characters, Eric, Sylvando, Serena, Jade, Rab, Veronica, everybody. Such well-written characters, a gorgeous art style, a great story, especially with the Definitive Edition S for the Switch, adding in a bunch of content, getting a little snippet and traveling back and learning more about previous games and previous worlds, being able to change the art style to like 2D sprite based or the 3D art style. The crafting is really addicting, trying to max out your swords and your weapons and everything like that, finding new recipes, exploring the varied locations, the coastal town of Coast of Allure, the kind of Greece, Spain-inspired town, and then you've got the more medieval towns, and it's just really cool. And I do really like the story a lot. The characters are great, and the skill system is really intuitive. Maybe not as intuitive as a skill system that you could find in maybe Final Fantasy 12 or something like that, but still very worthwhile and still very in-depth, so that you can kind of build your party. There are some stipulations, like you can't just give Eric a giant great sword or whatever. Characters have their own stuff that they can use, but you can kind of build around that and make a party that's a little more unique to your play style, which I really like. The Rocket Slime games, unfortunately, I missed the boat on that too. This one, I can't even read what it is, so I'm just going to say that I didn't play it. Some of these ones that are in only Japanese, obviously, I try to sometimes import games, but don't always get the opportunity to do that. Let's see if I can. I don't know if I can move this around because it's cut off at the bottom here, but you get what the point. Swords, I haven't played. That's the Wii game, I think. I've heard some mixed reviews on that. I just haven't played it myself. Dragon Quest Builders, I'm gonna put into decent. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it was a Minecraft-y Dragon Quest spin on things. But admittedly, I didn't play it enough. I did, however, play a lot of Dragon Quest Builders 2. That one I'm going to put into Incredible because I legitimately really enjoyed this game. I think about it a lot. And the fact that I kind of wish I put even more time into it, and I'm kind of thinking about picking it up again for my Switch and giving it another go, because I don't know if at the time something else came out that stopped me from playing it, but I remember really liking it and not putting nearly as much time into it as I wish I did. But yeah, it's, the building up the different towns in that Dragon Quest art style, piecing together your own world. The combat was pretty simple, but decent enough. Finding different characters, going to different worlds, all really cool stuff. And, I really enjoyed Dragon Quest Builders 2 a lot. This Dragon Quest Heroes is probably the only bad Dragon Quest game I've ever played, mainly just because it's just boring. It's just really boring and not fun. I remember I got to one map where it was like in this like a sewer or an underground temple or something, and you had to there were 3 waves that enemies were coming through, and you had to defend this thing, and it was just super overwhelming, button mashy, kind of bullet sponge, well, not bullet sponge because you're not using bullets, but like spongy enemies that just were not fun to fight. And it just made it a drag, and I just did not enjoy playing it. However, jumping ahead a little bit down here, I will say Dragon Quest Heroes 2, they took everything that was sucky about this game and made it better. The story's a lot better. The characters are a lot more enjoyable. Yeah, well, I guess I shouldn't say that because they did use prior Dragon Quest characters that are already well written, but like the main characters are a little bit more enjoyable. The maps are better. The just everything about it. They took what they had here, which admittedly wasn't a bad idea. A Dynasty Warriors kind of Dragon Quest hybrid, great idea, just wasn't executed well. But with this, they took that and they made it a lot better. The kind of quote unquote open world areas are fun to explore, and just leveling up your characters a lot of fun. And yeah, it's a great spin on Dynasty Warriors and a great spin on Dragon Quest. Here we have another Rocket Slime, didn't play. Torigo game, didn't play. I don't know if this is a fighting game, something, I don't know, didn't play. Didn't play. And then the original, like, Dragon Warrior. Well, no, this isn't the original Dragon Warrior. I don't know what this is. I don't know if these are more Monsters-esque games. But honestly, the rest of these, it doesn't look like I played. So, admittedly, if you're taking just this into account, it looks like, oh man, this dude barely played Dragon Quest. But remember that these are all long games. And also, a lot of down here are series. So, like, yeah, there are 3 spots taken up by Dragon Quest Monsters, but if I'm not going to play, but if I just miss out on the series, then that's, 3 whole spots right there, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass at this point. But yeah, here's the list. There's a bunch down here that's unfortunately cut off, but whatever. It doesn't matter. I haven't played it. But here we've got, the games that I have played, which again, I feel like is a decent amount. The Dragon Quest is a series that I really like, and I am very excited for the new Dragon Quest Monsters. I mean, that will be my start. That will be my introduction to monsters. So at least that will get put up here at some point. The 2.5D remake of 3, I don't know what's happening with that, but I really need that to come out because I really want to play that game because, again, I love 3's story. And mixing that with the art style that they've set up with Octopath is just a great idea. And then the newest Dragon Quest 12, I think they're on. I think that got announced, like the Flames of Fate. But really haven't heard much about that either. So I'm excited to see what happens with those games. And, I think if this list says anything, I guess maybe a newer Dragon Quest fan. I have gone back and played the originals, but a lot of these kind of sub-series games that came out a while ago, I didn't go back and play those. And then, of course, the Japanese ones kind of missed me, because unfortunately I don't live in Japan, at least not right now. But yeah, here's my Dragon Quest tier list. I know it's a little bare bones, but, I love the series, and I just put up what I played. I didn't want to lie to you and just say that I played stuff that I didn't play. So here it is. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have an idea for another tier list, I'd be more than happy to do it. I love doing tier lists. Like I mentioned in my K-pop tier list, it's a great way to organize thoughts, talk about a specific topic while also mentioning a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, it's also just a quick and simple video for me to make, and I like making videos. So that'll be that. And I hope you guys enjoyed it again, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.